You ever hear the one about your brain being just a Wi-Fi receiver for the universe? Yeah, apparently you're not really thinking, you're just tuning in. Like a cosmic Spotify playlist of thoughts beamed straight into your skull by the great beyond. All those bad decisions you made last year, not your fault. Blame poor signal. This little theory, let's call it the receiver model, is weirdly popular. Not in labs or journals, mind you, but on TikTok, Reddit, and among your aunt who thinks Himalayan salt lamps align your chakras. The idea is this: your brain doesn't create consciousness, it just picks it up like a radio. Break the radio, the signal's still there, you just can't hear it. Die. And maybe you just switch to Bluetooth? It's an elegant metaphor. So elegant, in fact, it completely sidesteps reality. Because here's the thing. Your brain isn't some glorified antenna. It's a wet, pulsating meat sponge that gets cranky if you skip breakfast. Knock it on the head and consciousness doesn't float away to the cloud. It fizzles, sputters, and collapses like a Windows 95 PC running too many tabs. Scientists, the people who use evidence instead of vibes, have been poking and prodding brains for decades. And guess what? When you damage certain parts, very specific things break. Mess with Broca's area, you can't speak. Damage the fusiform gyrus, and you can't recognize faces, even your mom's. Funny how this universal Wi-Fi signal suddenly depends on having a properly configured meat modem. And don't even start with quantum physics. Every time someone says consciousness is quantum, a physicist somewhere develops a nosebleed. Yes, quantum stuff is weird. So is my neighbor Jeff, but I don't think he's responsible for my dreams. Consciousness may be mysterious, but slapping quantum on it without evidence is just science cosplay. It's not an answer, it's a magic word. Now, believers in the receiver model often wave around near-death experiences like trump cards. But what about that guy who saw a light and his grandma in a tunnel while clinically dead? Yeah, well, brains are tricky. Flat EEG doesn't mean no activity, and memory is more flexible than your gym teacher ever was. Especially under trauma, oxygen starvation, and a bucket load of dopamine. Then there are the psychedelics. I saw the source code of the universe, bro. Sure you did. Meanwhile, neuroscience shows us your brain on LSD is like a cathedral, where all the doors have been blown open and every choir is screaming. Revelatory? Absolutely. Proof of cosmic broadband? Not so much. So what would actual evidence for the receiver theory look like? I don't mean fuzzy anecdotes. I mean something repeatable, testable, like two people receiving the same signal while in separate sensory isolation chambers, or a brain-dead patient predicting lottery numbers, or literally any detection of this so-called signal. But alas, nothing. Nada. Not even static. Meanwhile, mainstream science is grinding away. It's slow, sure, but at least it's not making things up. We've got theories like integrated information theory, global workspace theory, and predictive processing. All clunky names, but at least they're trying to describe what the brain's actually doing, not outsourcing it to the cosmos. And here's the kicker. Every time someone damages their brain and something goes missing, a memory, a sense of self, the ability to empathize, we get more evidence that the brain isn't a receiver. It's the whole bloody show. Consciousness isn't piped in, it's brewed locally, like bad coffee and worse opinions. But I get it. The idea that we're just terminals plugged into some infinite mind, it's comforting. Like spiritual insurance, death becomes a logout, not a shutdown. And who wouldn't want that? But comfort and truth don't always share a bed. Sometimes truth sleeps on the floor with a nosebleed and a headache, muttering about MRI scans and peer review. So if you like the receiver theory, cool. Paint it on your van. Write a poem. But don't mistake it for science. Because until someone finds a consciousness signal, measures it, and shows it working without a brain, it's just another story. And this story, it's not even connected to Wi-Fi.